Good evening. Welcome to the Siddha-Vetha webinar series. Today, I'll be the speaker. The topic for today will be conscious business model, a challenge to the noble mind. So, what's a conscious business model, and what does the current models do in terms of business? So, I wanted to have this session very interactively. So, I I open it for you to interact with me through the chat button. And if you have a question, so I want you to really type down in the chat button. Some of you may not know how to use a chat button yet, but you can see there is something near share or somewhere you can see a chat button, where you can, it says chat, you click and then you can type. You can select while you're typing whether it's for everyone or selectively to me. You can choose that if you feel like you're uncomfortable using. But what I see, what I want you to do is to be open. I don't form opinions based on what you say, and I mean it's your own opinion, and that really doesn't matter. A person thinking from a certain perspective on a business doesn't mean that he may be a failure in life or some other areas of life. They may be very strong, and so you cannot be judgmental on any of this. So what I really want to understand is that how can you really become a conscious business entrepreneur? Can we? Is it an easy thing? I can say yes, we can, but it's very difficult. It's a challenge. It's a real challenge to consciously involve in a business in today's world. So any successful businessman, if you look at, they have come through certain. It may not be conscious. If you're a successful business human being, you cannot be really conscious, and that's the fact. I don't want to cite certain people because you probably formed opinions on such people or your following. So I don't want to hurt your feelings that way, because there are other things that they may be greater in, even if you do a wrong business model. So my question for you is, can you be a good businessman, business human, without being a conscious consumer? So if you're not a conscious consumer, is it possible for you to become still a good business person? So that's my question. So I want all of you to type down what your opinion is. I'll give you a couple of minutes so I can repeat my question. If you're, it is not necessary for you to become a conscious consumer in order to become a successful business um, person, a conscious, successful business person. So Ratnakar says it's a big challenge. Conscious business model is synonym for Satkarma. It's tough, right? Okay. Namaste. You can type, all of you can type something. I want to really be interactive. How do you define a successful businessman? I don't know. I don't know what's a successful businessman, but I can say that a successful human being, if they can do business very ethically, they can be a successful businessman. And I don't think so a successful businessman be the number one person or in the world, or they make a lot of money. I don't think so. Successful for me is contentment. So because you cannot really be successful just by getting money, because money involves karma. So I have some others. I guess we are talking about only monetary. No, not really. Well, you can talk about other things such as success not in the terms of monetary, and it could be ethical, karma, everything. New essence of capitalism are huge even in conscious entrepreneurship. So that's true. Shweta says yes. In conscious entrepreneurship, definitely capitalism is there. Code of conduct, uh, yeah, is what this is from, I think, Sahani or somewhere. Code of conduct, right? So in other words, I can ask you a few questions. How many of you are interested in restaurant business? I am interested. Okay, Shanu says, I think you can't be a conscious business person without being a conscious consumer. If you have to be a conscious consumer, you can become a conscious business person. So let's see whether we are conscious or whether we are ready for a business. If you really wanted to do a good business, are we ready for that? So I wanted to start a restaurant. I like to have a restaurant. Okay. So if I ask you, like, give me ways to make it successful, what would you say? What are your suggestions, opinions? Right? You can type down, you can give me opinions. I will give you some examples, such as who cannot be, my mom cannot be a conscious businesswoman. I can definitely say that. My dad cannot be a business person at all. So this is a real challenge, So what I understand from this. Okay, so here Kala says healthy organic ingredients. So if you're using organic ingredients, you're saying it's a conscious business model. So do you really believe in that? Suppose somebody is using organic alone, and that is what you're making an organic ice cream, say. I'm having a smoothie shop. It's an organic smoothie shop. And many of them sell, the marketplace, you can go to a, all these, big corporates, they have a place where you can eat food. Many of them claim to be organic. Do you think organic is healthy? Or do you think organic alone is healthy? Is that enough for a business model, a good conscious business model? Such as you can have an organic ingredient, the chipotle or, so most these kind of people, they say, oh, we are non-GMO, we're using organic, things like that. Do you think these places will organic play a major role in life? Will that alone be a conscious business model? Says no. Sweta says no. Kala says no. And then what? Healthy food, conscious people, nice ambience. Okay, so you have healthy food, conscious people. So we have a healthy food. So we define. So how do you define healthy food? Good quality food, good service, satisfied customer. So what's good quality? So I, as a consumer, would see that a restaurant, somebody is running a mess. In India, you see there is a mess. You know what is mess is. Messes are small. Mostly kind of warm cooked. Right now, today it's not so, but those days, like a grandparent or somebody will cook. It's like it's homemade versus a big business model, right? So I would rather go and eat there than going to in a place like a restaurant which is more commercialized, right? So here, what is the definition of healthy food when you're going to a simple place versus a place that is corporate, it's very busy? Good quality food, good service. Food should be as it's made by mother. That's true. Well, if you cook, I mean, if parents cook, there's no problem. But we are in a corporate world. We should agree that at some point we eat outside. And all of us do. It's difficult for us to really say, because either the pressure goes on women, and if men are ready, they can cook, they can share. But if it goes on women, it's difficult. Women also work, or women are stressful at home alone, taking care of many things, and they also need a break. So they prefer, even if it is unconscious, they prefer to go and eat outside, right? So now, so yeah, I will definitely define conscious business model. So the real challenge is that, you take step by step. I would go by step. Which one is bigger? Which one is greater? Let's just give the example of a restaurant. We can apply that in all areas, different fields. So let's go by restaurant alone. So in a restaurant, if I have to start a business, first of all, I of course organic is definitely a must. But right now we need to trust on the labels. But for me, I would rather trust on the source. So how do you trust a source compared to a label? A label is very political. When you say a label, somebody can do it, even governments, very political. But if you know somebody through your network, through your friend circle, and you have known for a long time, historically they have been in business, and then you know that these people do not use these ingredients, you can trust those sources, even if they are not organic. So this is number one. Ingredients you should have chemical free. So look at the purpose. So you wanted to serve the society, and that should be a purpose. You want to give healthy food. So if you cannot feed your own belly or your kids with healthy food, you cannot become a conscious business entrepreneur. It's not possible. So without this transformation in you, it is impossible, and you will fail to become a conscious. You can become a business, you can be successful. So in order for you to come clean out of the karma, you have to be very conscious in from A to Z, the steps. And you cannot be completely 100% karma free. You will have, maybe you can have 90%. 10% you will do with or without your mistake. That's not in your control. But what you can control could be major. You can control many things. So you can control what ingredients are required. You can avoid frozen things. See, many of us think that frozen things, organic, something is frozen is good. Think about it. So if you freeze something, take out of it the fridge and keep it outside, see what happens. Within minutes, it'll be dead. I mean, it'll start to smell. So in a business model, you'll be in an economical model, you would have to save everything, store everything. That's how you can make money out of it. So there is a real challenge now, because your cost will increase. If you have to do fresh, if you have to do, if you don't want to have ingredients that can store, you don't want any preservatives, then it need to be really fresh, right? So it's a real challenge, because your cost goes up, definitely. And in a competitive market, it's very difficult for you to really give it the price which normal market offers. So the business definitely need to be a high profile business. So it is definitely a high profile business. Not only that, if you're using the step, for example, I told you my mom will never throw the oil unless I tell her to throw the oil, because that's not just my mom. When I say it's my mom, it's just many of the moms, in India at least, maybe many Asians, they feel the same. I mean, we ready to overeat your oil. We don't want to waste the oil, basically. So reheating oil changes the chemistry of the oil completely. It is very, I mean, forget tamasic and other guna-based things. Even just for modern things, you think about the oil, reheated oil, when you throw inside the sink, you can get it clogged within few seconds. So it's the same thing. It goes inside you, your pipes get clogged inside, your nadis get clogged. So the awareness, if you don't have the awareness, it's very difficult. If I have to do this and I have somebody like my mom or my mother-in-law, it wouldn't work. You see, it's a real challenge. It's a very cultural thing to save, not waste things until the oil becomes very dark. So if we, with certain awareness, or at this stage, think about a corporate, you can name it, you McDonald's, Dunkin' Donuts, all these kind of places. Remember how much of oil they will start to reuse and keep on heating with the same oil. And even if somebody says it is organic and run a restaurant, they would do the same thing. They can buy an organic oil, they get it certified, but when you reheat, the same organic is converted into poison, right? So I just happened to eat in one of the place when I went to California. I usually carry a lot of fruits, but I just saw, for a change, a restaurant that I saw it was organic, completely organic. It's called Amy's, I think Amy's organic restaurant or something. California is known for this. So I know, everything is organic there, but this is one level of conscious. I can say it's a Western conscious, but it's not complete. I mean, that can be because the overeating, or Western conscious is, you don't change, culture doesn't change. For example, you have a burger bun is made from industries. So you can have a bun which is organic, and think about a bun being organic. Really, I mean, how many people touch that? What all we did do, so your processing step. So the whole idea is to avoiding processing step, pre-processing step. So you will understand only when you become a conscious consumer that a pre-processing step that is involved will collapse everything organic. This includes, many Indians, I make pasta for my kid. I don't make that way, I make it the Indian way. I put some turmeric, I make it, with vegetables, they love it. And kids really enjoy pastas. I buy organic. I buy red lentils and all these things, Oh, so therefore it's healthy. You're assuming it's healthy. But think about industrial made. It is not pasta doesn't grow from directly, right? From a plant you pick. There's a huge difference. If you buy a grain, whole grain, and make upma, or you grind it, make a puttu, these all are ingredients, right? I'm telling some South Indian food, basically, right? Or you can make rotis out of bajra. Traditionally, we have been doing, even in Rajasthan, if you go today, we eat bajra rotis, and things have changed without their ideas now. Many things came, we change everything to wheat now. And so the whole idea is whole grain coming to your kitchen is very different from a processed food coming to the kitchen. Think about people's involvement, their energies. Many people work, and that's the next level. So even if you have a processed food, what is energy in this? Think about the cleanliness. People sneeze. You see, you cook at your home. You sometimes your hair falls, eyelashes falls, your hair falls, everything in your own food. Think about hundreds of people working, right? The so-called clean environment. Everybody breathe. Everybody, have energies, exchange different kind of mindset. What all problems they have, everything is packed in an industrial food. An industrial food is an unconscious food. So the whole idea here about conscious business model is to train you on conscious consumerism. My goal here is not for you to become an entrepreneur until you become a conscious consumer. So this is where you need to have awareness on each and every processing step. So you can say ultra process. Oh, I bought if I show you a Nutella bar or something like, they use all these fancy things and ingredients. You have fig, you have this, and then it's organic. It's packaged. So next level is package. Think about what you have under a package. First one is ultra processed. These are ultra processed. No matter whether you have organic, so don't even think about inorganic stuff. An inorganic stuff is already poisoned. Now coming to an organic stuff, just because it's organic, you buy in a packet and then eat. Think about what is in a packet. What are packets made up of? Most of the packets are made up of plastic. Plastic interacting with direct food versus plastic interacting, then your obvious question would be, hey, everything comes of a plastic, your rice comes in plastic, your dal comes in plastic. There's a difference. Because here, plastics goes in variation in variable temperatures. It rotates different forms, and when heat interacts with this, it interacts with the food in the hot sun. So if you're consuming directly something, it goes inside. But whereas you're in a grain, you usually wash, which may take maybe 80-85%, unless it's observed in. It's a different story. But here, you may be consuming more than 80% of plastic. And if not plastic, more dangerous would be aluminum. So aluminum is used in almost all the packets, to keep it fresh. The packaging. So you think about the ways that you can do business. Can you change the packets? Can you change the packets to bamboo based? Can you change the packaging, the food to whole grain, you know, instead of processed food? Or if you're doing a processing step, what are the things? For example, we have Siddha, all the Siddha medicinal things are processed. There's a Siddha processing step. But these involve a lot of skills. That's why when a Siddha makes a medicine, it really becomes a medicine because they are making it. So only 50% I can say is coming from the direct medicinal benefit of that ingredient. The rest all comes from the biomagnetic energy that the Siddha passes on the positive energy. And that's how traditionally a Siddha doctor should be. And today, even if you're taking Ayurveda Siddha medicine, you may not have that kind of an effect because the people who are preparing that may not be in that mindset. You have to be meditative. Um, you should not be greedy. So all these things are there. The moment you become greedy, the medicine also becomes poison. I have seen the worst people, even in a very conscious. See, this is a conscious business model. These all are conscious business models. If you're choosing a Siddha Ayurveda, the area is conscious, but a human being can make it worse. You can have the bad ingredients. So mostly, I have seen people they don't care about organic in Siddha Ayurveda. They put all kind of things. Doesn't matter. Ingredients. They can create something. And second thing is, marketing. Um, they just make it higher price, which is very expensive. I have been dealing with that kind of thing. It's been very expensive, and the moment we get it here, it's going to be very expensive when you can take it to abroad because it's already very expensive. But some of them might work, but really do have to be very expensive. So now comes the fair trade. So you have all this organic. You can talk about wholeness of the food, everything. Now fair trade is an example would be Walmart. So how many of you buy very easily? Who do not buy in Walmart? Do you have a reason for that? Who do not? Can any one of you tell? I don't go to Walmart, and this is the reason. Okay, Shweta says I don't shop Walmart due to their low wages. That's true. So if you go to India, Malaysia, their employees, they don't pay. Think about, see, whom should we help? We should help people who are in need. So what Walmart does, there is a needy people whom you underpay and then give the benefit to rich countries who already have money and they're getting it for cheaper, but you underpay the other people who are really in need of things. So this is a wrong model. So if you are a customer of Walmart, then never even think about a conscious business model. You cannot do that because you should know how the whole principle of the ethics in business work. If you do not pay to the farmer, to the people who really do this, and more than 50% should go to the people who do this. All the other people are are secondary. Marketing is fine, but you're taking it. But this is how I see, the people who really make it, the farmer, he should be paid the most, or the one who makes it with the hand, with the, you know, with the hard work, and they should be paid higher. And today we have something called fair trade. Fair trade has some kind of a um, thing that that will take care of that, but it's not enough. But if you look at, people have always loopholes to find a way to still continue with this. And without ethics, labels, are nothing. And if you go further, we can discuss about a model like a vegan model. Vegan model is something, if you don't harm any animals in the process anyway, and abuse. For example, you could buy an organic food, and I'm a vegetarian. Um, you can say lacto vegetarian to now probably I don't want to call myself vegan, but I use some geese that are, mostly it's a lacto vegetarian, but it comes from India. Um, but most of Indians um, or understand what vegetarian means. But if you're buying a organic ingredient from a corporate here, it doesn't necessarily mean it is vegan. For a vegetarian, I'm talking about, who really worry about animals being hurt in any way. Because many things, when you have organic manure, which could be a dead animal, it could be a fish waste, and many things. So we really have a challenge today. With all these challenges, it's very difficult to do a conscious business, especially in the food industries. And you can extend this to many other industries too. So that's why a vegan label may be something to see, but that's not enough at all. We need to see the damages from an environmental perspective, how much damage you can have. For example, you can have a vegan shoes, and it's just made up of plastic, right? And you're damaging the environment by taking plastic, going deep down the mother's womb. You're pulling in the blood of Mother Earth and converting into a, whatever you want, and that has its own karma. It's also not compatible, biocompatible. So what really veganism means today is a lazy veganism. It's not really ethical. And if you look at what veganism they promote here, is that everything is, even in the food you will have a soy. You cannot, so soy is something like, why do you eat soy? Because it tastes like the animal products. You can create turkeys, you can create fake milk, you can fake, so these all are, so the mind has not transformed it. The senses still want it. Senses are really questing for that. So transformation happens only you come out of this whole thing. Your sense even doesn't like. The moment you see, the moment you connect with animals, you see the compassion in that. right? So that transformation, when it happens, you can penetrate into that level of animals environmental conscious, by destroying the environment, by throwing plastics, and throwing ingredients that are dangerous, including your oil, could kill other animals. Think about it. If you cannot eat that oil, you're putting in a sink can kill many animals. Even if you don't throw to the sink, it's again. So reheating oil itself is a big karma. So when you really wanted to shine in business, it is about the ethics, it is about the transparency, a good understanding of your customers. A customer should know who you are. Customer should agree that it is okay to pay more because of the standards of ethics that this person is following. So integrity. So you can narrow down your customers, but you will get satisfaction in that. You can broaden up, but the moment your marketing, you start to lie, because marketing needs lying. How best you can lie, and that's how many of the things have been used so far, like toothpaste, the use of fluoride in toothpaste. They said, oh, fluoride is good for you. How? This is how it helps. And they misuse science to market it. Science is completely misused for marketing. And because people like science, they also like products. So many of the things that came to the world today is in the name of the modern science. They're talking about, oh, how these nanoparticles came and it removes. These all are lies. First of all, mechanisms are lies. They're not truth. And the moment you got fancified with the modern words, you start to believe, oh, this is how the mechanism happens, and true, this is technology is real, because you see the computer and cell phones start to work. So these all are assumption based. This is how it can happen, but what are the side effects? And there no government agency or anybody to find all these side effects. Okay. And as for the ashram models, many of ashram gurujis are there. They're making some wonderful products, but they don't have a modern knowledge. They have to compete. Think about it. They couldn't compete, say, selling a Ayurveda tooth powder. A tooth powder is a natural form. You cannot. You don't have to have a, what you call preservative. You don't need. So it's a very natural form. And if you had made some things to market it, some tactics, it would have been successful. But they couldn't beat this market because these people show white. Your teeth need to be white, for example. It's a wrong idea they give. And then and they show all kind of paste very easily going. So the ashrams also want to convert this into paste, but the only ingredient you can use, they have using all the organic ingredients, or maybe the herbal ingredients at least, if not organic. But when it comes to preservatives, they use preservatives. I have seen this in many of the ashram models today. With they may have multi-million business model, but that's not very successful in my sense. So it's through human consciousness together, it's possible to create a business model, um, supportive. And I am planning to have that kind of a model. And we have created what is called Veda Innovation. Um, is a corporate where people can become the consumers, become investors, and you divide. You can share. The profit goes back to people. And I believe in this model because the moment you become an entrepreneur, you want to become a um, you want to make the money, but rather if you turn this to the people, they will be very happy and they will support this business. And I'm willing to have all of your inputs for this model, and I am opening this to everyone who are welcome to this model, to create a own business model that will serve the purpose and bringing conscious products from, um, by reference. We know that this person is good, it's been being, and then we do some research and find out, okay, this is the best product. And I have identified so many products like that because I believe I'm at least 70 to 80% conscious consumer, um, including I bring my own vegetables. I don't buy for 6 to 7 months. I create my own. But there are things only that you can control. There are things that you cannot control, such as a bee coming and crossing the GMO, non-GMO things. So, but what you can control, you could definitely control. And this controlling can give you a lot of things for the humanity. It can prevent many disease. And prevention is very important than, making medicines. And food, I think, is a very important thing for a conscious consumer model. So, a good idea to contemplate. It's important to groom conscious consumer awareness. So, yes, Dr. BVK Shastri is an expert, so he understands this model. So, I would definitely, I'm open to any questions or suggestions on this. And I'm welcome. If you have um, any comments, I won't call it positive or negative. It doesn't matter for me. You can say, if you're in this mind, you cannot do a business. I know that, but we all can together. It is possible. I mean, if you really bring this awareness to people, then we can trust on certain things, the integrity. We can create a very good business model, self-sufficient, and it's a collective co-realization model where all of us contribute in one way or the other and expand the business. Each one, somebody, and you tell them to buy, this is our product, and then ask them to be part of this, um, and they get the benefits. Well, people have used like Amway and other people, but here we are not thinking about that kind of a model. You do this, but just giving them awareness of the products itself. This continuously, educating them on the awareness products. It'll take a longer time, but it will definitely be the thing for future humanity, for our younger generations to come, to change the world. This is the only way of doing business. And well, you could have other business models, but what I'm saying, this is one of the ways I can say. But this awareness is a very important part of a business. And when we all put in our minds together, it's a different business than an individual doing business. An individual is greedy, and when he wants to make money, he wants to keep it himself. But when we all jointly do together, all the energies goes into this that product itself, and it becomes very pure, because we want the aim, the goal is totally different. It is a social conscious business model. So public food distribution chain needs to be responsible for public health. This is a good food value by Gita. Corporate greed kills nation's health. That's true. Shastri ji, thank you for the comments. So now I open for questions or comments on this. You can raise your hands or you can type there, and because if I unmute all, it's going to be a mess. Some of you make it noisy, you know. Yes, Shweta ji, let's see. Unmute. Yes, Shweta ji, go ahead, please.
Hi, namaste. How are you?
Good, good.
Thank you for sharing some of your thoughts. I think it's a really critical thing to focus on. May you have your own business or not, it doesn't matter. We play some part in it. But I think the part that often gets missed is one's own personal actions, right? So there's one thing about the internal journey, but in an activist or action way, if one doesn't acknowledge one's privilege and also how you're supporting or not supporting, like something like Walmart or Amazon even, or any of these companies, it's not going to go far. And so I think people have to take responsibility, because if you don't act, you know, you're just giving more power to that, right? It's like the healthcare or death care system right now. People can complain about it, but if you don't take responsibility for your own actions and taking care of yourself, then you're just giving them power, you know, and it's going to stay in power and the
Exactly.
dominant force. So we can mentally think about a lot of ideas, but if one doesn't make a firm decision, like, no, I'm not going to shop there, or I'm
Right.
not going to support this movement or this or that, then the farmers are going to suffer, you know, all the grassroots movements, the suicide, as we know, suicide rates are going higher and higher all across the world with all these farmers, because government and corporate policies are completely overpowering them, and they don't care about people's livelihoods, right? So if we can take a stand, and then I think that's a critical part of kind of disempowering the dominant force. And I don't think those forces are horrible, because we all have to coexist, but it's that they're dominant and it's not completely serving people's basic human rights at this point. So I just wanted to emphasize that, because everybody can take up something, you know.
Exactly.
And especially if you're privileged enough to, you can, but if that, it takes a huge willingness to get discomfortable and not stay comfortable in your lifestyle, you know. Like as a former kind of community activist myself, like I just found out of a female. She's been protecting the Mexican land. She's an indigenous leader, and you know, her home's gotten burnt, and now she's disappeared because she's been so vocal about a corporation taking over some land in Mexico. And that's a personal, you know, these people don't like sit around just talking about it. Their livelihoods are at danger. And so if those who are privileged, we have to take a stand and draw the line somewhere. So I just wanted to share that. So
thank you. Awesome. I think, yeah, definitely, you know, without risking ourselves, nothing works. basically. But this is the same thing. I think Dr. Shastri would give an example from Bhagavad Gita. Probably I can unmute him about why this action is very important when we start to move. What is a fight? When we talk about Bhagavad Gita, we think fight means real fight, go and attack. But I don't think that way. And even Shastriji here, can you, Shastriji, can you give an example of why we need to fight over the darkness in that sense, and quote something from the Bhagavad Gita, please?
See, the fundamental of yoga is a body-mind connection, what we call as chitta and sharira, the connection. If body is nurtured by food, the part of it impacts the consciousness, the mind, the thoughts. This whole process is detailed in Ayurveda and Yoga Shastra. What has happened in the modern agricultural economy is maximizing yield of food at the cost of destroying several things. So that needs to be set right. So this is the essence of Bhagavad Gita, where they say yukta ahara viharasya. The food has to be yogic, not only for consumption but for distribution in the whole chain. The closest I can think of is the Jewish standards. When they say it is kosher, there is a whole lot of standards behind that, and for the process that needs to be invoked. That would bring in certainly a bigger model of sustainable economy and contribute to public health as well as the individual health. So that is the pointer in that.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Any other comments from anybody? Shanu says, thank you for enlightening us. It is so important to be fair to all involved. With awareness, we can bring the sea of change. Thank you for educating us and leading us. So, thank you. We can take one more question real quick, and then we can. If no questions, I'll do an announcement. Okay. Well, I mean, we have challenges. It's not just from a corporate standpoint view. We also have challenges in the non-profit organizations too, because everything today we need to market, and not like those days. People come and learn if they have to. And today there is a necessity to market it, and otherwise we cannot sustain in the modern world. So so we have been trying our best to market our courses, and we have been very successful in reaching some worldwide, some countries that they are also interested in our courses. So we would really turn this into a big a model that not just we become greater. I'm not very much keen on becoming. We really wanted to train people to become conscious consumers and conscious entrepreneurs. So that's one of my goals too, and our organization also. We at one point we wanted to really see each one as an entrepreneur. We can give you tips, because you might have a better business idea, because business is a different thing than running an organization or teaching and things like that. You need to be really a person who knows about finance and marketing, and that's a different skill set, and we need all kind of people to be part of it. Just by knowing shastras or the Siddha or Ayurveda will not work. Business is very different, and within that business, so now we have to have both agreement with the people who are doing business, they need to have ethical knowledge that need to be given, and people who are doing this, they need another kind of ethical knowledge, who are selling, making the product or things like that. So there is a need for both these people, and that's how we can change the planet. So we are now offering um, the course on holistic integrated medicine, and it's a 1-year diploma course, and that's where we are starting, and people can turn that into a master's PhD degree. And Shastriji is also here, their institute, um, Yoga Sanskritam University is also involved in this. We're jointly giving the degree. So you all are welcome to take part and learn a lot of things in this, which will give you a different kind of perspective for even um, the dietary nutrition theory. And also you can really, if you wanted to sell something, you don't need vitamin protein kind of theories. You can really sell it from a new level of theory, very unique. And so there are dimensions of things that you can use, new dimensions such as new kind of labels. I know uh, there are dimensions you can use which is not been used elsewhere. So if you become expert in that and you create your own labels, there's a lot of opportunity. There's no need for any competition. There's no competition needed. You can independently be um, an entrepreneur, because there is so much need for so many things in this world, because there are so many things need to be replaced in the modern world. We can create a number of things that are very good for human being in all fields of consumerism. So I thank you all for your valuable time, and hope this has created some awareness in you. Thank you. Thank you.